Have you ever found yourself constantly putting others' needs before your own? Do you have a hard time saying no, even when it inconveniences to you? If so, you might be people pleaser, and you are not alone. What exactly is a people pleaser? Well, it is someone who tends to prioritize the happiness and approval of others over their own well-being. They often find it challenging to assert their own boundaries, fearing that saying no or expressing their true opinions might disappoint or upset those around them. People-pleasing goes beyond cultural differences and affects people from all backgrounds. Because even if you are living in a collectivist culture where group harmony and social conformity play a significant role, constantly prioritizing the needs and expectations of others can come at a cost. So whether you consider yourself a people pleaser or you are simply interested in exploring human behavior, this video is for you. You need to prioritize yourself. It is a cliché that you constantly come across in lifestyle magazines, at least in Western countries, but for many it remains a challenging task. Putting others first, seeking their approval provides a sense of security, as it gives the impression that you will be appreciated. Imagine a college student, John, who always says yes to every request that comes his way. He takes on multiple club activities, volunteers for extra projects, and sacrifices his own study time to please others. Despite his efforts to be liked and admired, John finds himself overwhelmed, stressed, and unable to perform at his best. During a discussion, he would rather swallow his opinion if he noticed that his friends have a different viewpoint. He wants to avoid conflict with them at all costs. If a family member offers him a piece of cake that he has absolutely no desire for, he eats it within minutes. He also finds it incredibly difficult to ask for money back from friends who owe him, fearing that it will be negatively received. He believes it's important to do good for everyone and has long seen it as a positive trait. Empathy, selflessness, and helpfulness are highly valued personal traits. However, he eventually realized that pleasing everyone is not only unrealistic but also harmful. Trying to be good to everyone means being less kind to yourself. People pleasers are individuals who always want others to like them. They often end up sacrificing their own needs and feelings. They worry a lot about whether others will be there for them in relationships. To feel more secure, they try really hard to please others, so they will be appreciated. People pleasers have a hard time saying no. They always try to be helpful and consider what others want. They are like chameleons, changing themselves to fit the needs of others so much that they forget who they truly are. They always compare themselves to what others think and don't have their own standards. This lack of personal standards can make them lose their sense of identity and always feel unsure and insecure. People-pleasing is not the same as altruism. Altruists have a genuine desire to do things that bring happiness to others. The gratitude they receive afterwards is their primary motivation. However, with people-pleasers it's different. Their behavior always stems from fear of insecurity. People-pleasers often hold a deep-seated belief that if they stop pleasing others or assert their own needs, they will face negative consequences, such as punishment, rejection, or abandonment. This fear drives their behavior, causing them to avoid any form of conflict or disapproval. Their actions become desperate and strained as they constantly seek validation and approval from others. They may go out of their way to accommodate others, suppress their own opinions and desires, and neglect their own well-being in the process. This pattern of behavior is emotionally exhausting. Research conducted in 2016 by Australian neuroscientists shed light on the unique brain responses of people pleasers when faced with conflicting opinions. In this study, 39 adults underwent fMRI scans while being presented with various statements. These scans allowed researchers to observe brain activity and identify the regions involved in cognitive dissonance, which refers to the psychological stress experienced when confronted with conflicting beliefs. Interesting, when people pleasers disagreed with a statement, the activity in these brain regions was notably stronger compared to other participants. This suggests that people pleasers experience heightened discomfort when their own beliefs diverge from the expectations of others, potentially due to the increased cognitive dissonance they feel. These findings provide insight into the internal struggle experienced by people pleasers, highlighting that amplified psychological stress they face in situations where their personal convictions clash with the desire to please others. While not an officially recognized term in scientific circles, people-pleasing is a topic frequently discussed in the field of psychology. This behavioral pattern holds particular relevance in the schema therapy developed by American psychologist Jeffrey Young. Young identified various dysfunctional schemas that are believed to originate during childhood. These schemas play a crucial role in shaping how we interpret information and profoundly influence our emotions, thoughts, and behavior within relationships. Young noticed that many clients develop their relational challenges rooted in a specific schema. Among these schemas, the one closely associated with pleasing people is submission. Individuals with this schema excessively prioritize meeting other needs, avoiding disapproval. When faced with negative or intimidating situations, the submission schema is activated, prompting people pleasers to exhibit submissive behavior. People-pleasing often correlates with fear and avoidance. The underlying fear of rejection drives individuals to seek approval by pleasing others. People-pleasers tend to prioritize maintaining harmony and steer clear of conflicts. Engaging in conflicts elicits strong discomfort, prompting them to suppress their divergent opinion. Even research conducted in the United States in 2012 demonstrated that people pleasers may experience unease when they outperform others. This confirms the tendency of people pleasers to downplay their achievements, making themselves appear small in conversations revolving around accomplishments. We all possess an innate need to be accepted and belong to a social group. This drives us to seek closeness and connection, and we experience anxiety and stress when immediate acceptance is not achieved. So people-pleasing becomes a coping strategy that offers reassurance in such situations. If our attachment experiences during childhood or adolescence were less than optimal, leading to a lack of trust in our environment, people-pleasing behavior may emerge as an outcome. For instance, growing up, we may have internalized the belief that we only deserved our parents' love when we behave well or submissively. These early life experiences, alongside new ones, shape our understanding of how to navigate relationships. Good news is that we have the capacity to learn. While we cannot erase our past experiences, we can expand them with the new ones. By actively participating in new learning experiences, we can reduce the prevalence of outdated patterns. But is people pleasing always bad? Well, if it's a strategy to avoid stress and anxiety, it is not always bad. In fact, it is a very useful strategy that helps us survive. You can function perfectly well as a pleaser without ever experiencing any negative consequences. However, constantly behaving as a people pleaser can get you into trouble. Your surroundings will start to take all your helpfulness for granted. You won't develop a strong sense of personal identity. If you're unable to say no at work, you are at risk of burnout. Changing people-pleasing behavior is not easy, and it's best to take small steps. Start by asserting yourself in the least intimidating situations. In other words, try saying no more often within your safest relationships. Gradual confrontation of your fears is an effective approach to address and overcome them. You need to muster up courage and see what happens when you stop pleasing others. But be mindful that the fear of not being good enough will inevitably arise. Being brave is key. Experience that it is not the end of the world if you can't please everyone. Like saying no to a friend's request for help because you already have prior commitments, or declining to participate in activities that don't align with your values or interests, even if it disappoints others. If you can endure those moments, you'll progress towards bigger steps. What else can you do? Well, start by going on a journey to discover your true self. It might be not easy, especially for people who always try to please others and haven't developed a strong sense of their own identity. Take some time to think about the values that are important to you, not influenced by others. Picture yourself in the future, 10 years from now, and think about the kind of impact you want to have on the world. Then reflect on your current situation. Compare the answers to the previous questions with your current situation. To what extent does your current behavior reflect your own needs and values? What path are you currently pursuing? Do they possibly contradict what you truly want? Try to figure out what you need to take the first step towards finding yourself. And last but not least, learn effective communication. Find the right words to express what you want. How can you tell others what you need without ignoring their needs? You can talk about your own needs while also understanding what others want. Instead of saying, "I don't want to go to the movie at all," you can say, "I don't feel like going to the movies right now. The weather is so nice. I know you wanted to see that movie and I understand you might be disappointed. Can we go another time?" This way, you show that you understand how your decision affects the other person. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.